Oh Hairu, somehow you just keep on reappearing. And now, you're about to come back to life. I mean, it's not that I care or anything.
Oh my god, yes! Oh yes! Furuta, you're the coolest guy ever!
Yeah, well... Anyway, it is happening. It's strange because I have thought of this for a while. In fact, I always believed that Ishida has left so many evidence that this would happen eventually. Day in and day out, I have been dropping my personal thought of wanting to remain focused on Kanu and his crazy experiment. I want to discuss the clues that have been suggesting a revival that isn't only in the manga but as well as outside source. Admittedly though, this was going to be a video about the possibility of revival. Now that it's out in the open, the topic has been changed to more focus on Hairu. I should go over quickly on the revival. The series has slowly suggested a possibility since as early as Noru's first appearance. Of course, we didn't know who was behind the mask or even see what that thing is. When it got decapitated, it quickly goes back like nothing happened. When it died, it turned out to be Eto's guardian. From that moment, it must have been a sign. What increased greatly is the death of Okahira. He was dead because of Furuta's use of meat shield, only for him to be revived as a quinks under Kanu. Ishida must have purposely wrote the name in case that we forgot, but more importantly, to give us a hint. That is when I thought, okay, it's building up to someone's revival. The question is, who? I know many have suggested characters like Shirazu or even Karin. As for me, I always pointed towards to Hairu and always thought that Ishida had this plan all set early on. Going back to her introduction, I quickly grown attracted to her character. She was in Squad 0, grew up in the garden, her action display is impressive, and she can be quirky. I didn't feel alone as Ishida showed some special treatment. So you would think he is invested into this character, right? Then she dies by decapitation. Oh well, at least Ishida was nice enough to not show her head flying off. At first, it didn't kick in until 2 chapters later that I thought, what a waste. Honestly, I felt like it was too soon and a waste on the potential she had, whatever it was at the time. I'm surprised that she had a good size of fan base for someone who only lived for barely 2 volumes. You would think she has been around for a while, so why I didn't give up on her character? Because Ishida indirectly said so. While it was true that Ishida shows favor towards her early on, it was during the time of her livelihood. After her death, you would think that's the end of him treating her special, right? There was this twin tail special day at Japan and Ishida decided to post an image to represent it. Who gets that treatment? Hairu. Now wait a minute, why her out of all heroines? Why not Toka? Why not Hinami? Hell, why not Akira? Even Psycho got so many internet memes, yet she couldn't get this one? Oddly enough, one user I saw even predicted that she would return and become a ghoul. Called it? The other evidence in my opinion is her birthday picture from Ishida, not the calendar, but from social media. I noticed that he tends to celebrate his character's birthday, and yet she gets this treatment while she is still dead. Why is this significant? Take Koma for instance. This was posted up and he was declared dead at the time. But guess what happens later? You guessed it, he's alive and well. So again, why is this important? Creators tend to show favoritism to his or her own creation, and Ishida is no exception. It's evident that he truly loves his creation and often posts images of his characters for fun. That said, it at times suggests that the role of one isn't over. Would that suggest Hairu's role isn't exactly over? Going by chapters 121, it appears that way. The biggest evidence in my opinion is the newest novel, Tokyo Ghoul Red Quest. The content is based on before the Rose investigation arc, and Hairu is among the main characters. It was at this point I no longer backing away to my claim. I can't argue that it's a dead giveaway that her character will return. Yes, the content is before her death, but here's the question. Why? Why would they waste the time to write a novel to go depth of her character? Sure, she isn't the only focus, but why not someone else? You could argue that they can write a novel of a dead character, and that is true, but if you're like me and tally up everything to this point, it's hard to argue otherwise. After all, she only appeared in one arc. Do we really need to know more of her? Is her fanbase that huge, or is it for something else? It's not the nail to the coffin, but it's certainly the second last piece. Before going into the discussion ground, we must first question on her reappearance. As it has been suggested, it is going to be done within the Noro project. The question that people don't know that complete answer is whether or not that becoming a Noro will only make you brain dead monster as a reanimated body. The original Noro was already a mystery on its own, despite knowing the past identity. Many have suggested that they are practically zombies. After going back to the older chapters, it's not actually clear. It was said that something bad occurred to Nori, presumably V took him out. That would suggest that he was killed and later brought back to life. The one question left in the air is how long it took for Eto to revive him. I brought this up because some would say they are mummified when becoming a Noro. Could it be possible that Eto took a long time to find the capability to revive him as the body was already decaying? To my knowledge, it wasn't clear of when and how she learned to do so. It's evident that she can't do it easily when dealt with Karen. While it is hard to say that Noro would decay your body as it wasn't clear, the possibility of late revival is up there. As for being brain dead, I became doubtful when Noro actually spoke before his death. From his last word alone, it was clear that they can talk and have a sign of intelligence. Was Nori a mute person? Could it be that he couldn't talk due to his body and have only Kagane to speak? Or was that Kagane itself doing the talking? It is worth mentioning that Karen did speak as a Noro, and she became one while she was still alive. It's because of Eto's torment that made her insane. So even if reviving Haru doesn't turn her insane, it's the torment that Kano or even Furata will bring her to insanity. On the other hand, her revival may acquire more than just becoming a Noro, and that would tie in with the method as a Kanu's Quinks. It's perhaps the mix of two that could still bring her back to life. Come to think of it, Okahira did in fact speak normal like a lively person. Could Kanu methods be the key to actual revival more so than Noro? That part remains a mystery as mentioned before. He talked pretty normal rather than being brain dead. It's probably because he owes it to Kano that he has to obey his command, or there's something behind it. Remember, everyone were dead at the time, only for Kano to magically revive them. Perhaps Haru may need the Noro's process because her head is detached from the body. It could not be possible back then. Now they are looking into Noro's traits to make it happen. You may ask, but didn't he say he can revive the dead? Well, here's the thing. When he was comparing himself as Frankenstein, it is asking for too much of a miracle. If you recall the story, Dr. Frank has to create a new body out of many requirements. Haru still has hers, but not Shiro. Her body is long gone. That or Kano is just messing around with her. Remember, no one from CCG knows that Okahira is alive, and that doesn't concern with Corona. One way or another, she will come back, but there's going to be a lot of complications. When it comes to revival, it can be iffy on the execution, mainly because some writer will only pull this trick just to revive them and that's it. Whether they are revived and do nothing or revive to cheapen the significance such as death or plot point. However, Ishida has a chance to make it beneficial. To quote George R.R. Martin on Resurrection, in some ways, they're not even the same characters anymore. The body may be moving, but some aspect of the spirit is changed or transformed, and they've lost something. I said that her potential back then was there, but after recollecting this approach, it actually has more. Reviving Haru will actually leave more than just a woman brought back to life, rather add more to the event. She fits as the best candidate. For starters, she will gain a vast amount of arsenal. She's a half human from the garden, as well as shown her impressive skill at a really young age. Kano basically built up his experiment that leads to the ultimate project, even if it's not the definitive. Haru fits the requirement to become the monster he wants to create. As much as she will gain tremendous attribute, she has lost something incredibly important. Arima. She has been away for so long that time has changed drastically. Arima is no longer in this world. That alone is enough to make her feel ill. It has been emphasized many times on how much he meant to her even after her death. The flashback was going to remain as a last piece to her character. Now it has become the piece that will lift her world completely. In fact, I believe the novel is for the audience to be ready for her breakdown. I wouldn't be surprised if Kanu or Furuta would taunt her in order for her to go mentally unstable. Ishida may use her as a character of what happens when one has been gone long enough for their loved one disappeared. When it comes to the benefit outside of her character, it does lead to opportunity to exploit. Keep in mind, not everything would happen. It's only a possibility. I recently learned that one of the garden children that are with Ghoul is a family related member. I don't know if it's going to lead to anything, but I can see a possible interaction. I wonder if there's a possibility for Tsukiyama family to react upon seeing her alive. It was emphasized by Fura that perhaps they held a grudge against Hairu since she did the killing. Of course, she wasn't the only one in there, but it could be Ishida's writing to separate her in order to maximize the hatred to one target. That all said, Shu could react heavily, seeing that the one that killed his family is alive and well, as if to say his family sacrifice was in vain. It could stir a huge mishap. If Hairu is implanted with Gagi and Goge Kagane, I could see Naki family play a role, but mainly against Kanu. She could be the one that would spark a light to Naki and realizes that he was played like a fool. How would they know it's from them? The family members might recognize the Kagane to be similar to theirs from senses or by design. That or just sense the aura of it belonging to the brothers. That's where Naki could put 2 and 2 together and realizes that Kanu has lied to them. After all, they were meant to be Kagane for someone, and that someone could be Hariru. I don't know if there will be anything for Kaneki. He is the Shinigami Slayer. Could that play any role? It depends on her mindset once she is awakened. Kaneki has plenty of enemies on his list already, so someone who wants revenge could be filled in by her. The one character that obviously will have the most effect is Uri. To me, this is his end of the line as a character. The one last chance that he has when considering the important people in his life. Hairu was among them, so now he has another chance to protect. In my opinion, if he fails, this is it for his character. CCG is no longer the same, so giving up the ethics would be the next step and hope for the best to bring her back. It is not without conflicts waiting to ensue. I believe it's given that she will be a monster that Connor will make her into, erase personality or not. This will be hard on him to control her sanity and lead to their downfall. He will want her to be herself, not a monster that resembles his thoughts on Ghoul. Since this will be his last chance, he will go out of his way to protect her. The process of revival isn't clear whether she will be a Ghoul or not, or somehow remain human. Pretend it does lead her to become a Ghoul. How would Uri react to see her become someone he hates? Would this be a subplot for him to upset her, which means upsetting Ghouls? This could be his breakthrough, like start to open up for Ghouls rather than define them. His bond with Kaneki was a sign that he could manage to be friend with a Ghoul, so perhaps this could rejuvenate that dilemma to deal with. I see it as a way to begin receiving good things rather than nothing but karma. All he has to do is to break tie with CCG and Furuta. It is basically his home, which is not easy to break. But Aura in chapter 104 hint at his possible development. When I say this is it, I do believe failing would result to his demise. I can be wrong, but that's how I see it. Do I think he will die? It's a bit hard to say for now. I have to wait and see how it is being narrated. He already addressed his line about protecting the loved ones as he lost all of his, so repeating that process before his death seems redundant by that point. Truth be told, it all stems from Aura talking about growing up and love. The real focus is on love, in which Uri is lacking but said that he needs to find it. It could have been interpreted that he is the one that lost everything and be the end of it. However, it now appears that Ishida is giving Uri that chance. While Aura was talking about romantic love, it could be seen in many ways, though I think Ishida is giving him a romantic interest. The reason why I want Hariru to maintain her personality even though insanity is because it would have more impact to not only him but both of them. I believe it was done by design to have him witness a proposal scene. It's a way to intertwine his character, a sign to say that he needs that passion. I once thought it would be with someone new or anyone we know at a random moment, but now it seems to be pointing at Hariru. Right now, I don't know if there's any love hint from him, rather just friends. Maybe as time develops, he can develop something different towards her, so long he can accept her for what she'll become. Again, Furuta has him on the rope, So if he can't break it, he will begin to develop for the best. I believe that's the only reason why Uri is by his side in the first place. If he doesn't keep his words, such as brought back to life, normal and all, he most likely will leave. He most likely will leave if he learns that she's being abused for the sake of a weapon. That may as well be the breaking point to his character. It will be that very moment that would choose the path. As for Hairu, her love for Anima is noted many times, including in the Omake. Can she move on from that? Could Uri be the guy? By this point, they lost everything they cherished, so both of them can balance out. It's no coincidence that Ishida chose her to be set for a revival. Yes, it's because she's from the garden, which is most likely why they chose her, let alone Furuta retrieving her from Ogiri. But it could have been replaced by anyone if she is not going to contribute anything different than a killing machine. I mean, you can make her brain dead character that still needs protection, but it seems Ishida has more to tell with her. It's up in the air on which direction he will go. Her character can bring more to the table, hence why she is coming back into the story. It's only a matter of the size of the magnitude that her revival could bring. Ishida has shown care to his characters when they are worked on more than just being a body bag. So be prepared for anything, because the old hype is resurrected. So what are your thoughts about this revival? Do you think she will come back normal, but of course with a lot of crazy attributes? Or she will come back like Noro, just a mute monster behind that mask? Time will tell. So far, it seems like the wait is going to be a little longer. Whatever it is, it should be interesting to see her return. And that will do it for this discussion. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you like this and want more of this, subscribe to my channel and my world will be yours to stay. Until next time, take care.